The body of Eswatini Police Commissioner William Dlamini has left O.R Tambo International Airport for Eswatini. Dlamini, who was on his way home from Interpol meeting in Angola, collapsed while waiting for a connecting flight to Eswatini in the early hours of this morning. Now let's get the latest. We are now joined via Teams by Alpheous Nxumalo, the Eswatini Government Spokesperson. Mr. Nxumalo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, we have heard various reports from various sources in terms of what transpired in the early hours of this morning. Of course, we know that the National Commissioner was not well health-wise. Just talk to us about the circumstances surrounding the Commissioner's death officially.
Thank you very much, and your good viewers. Yes, we did receive the sad news in the early hours of this morning, and what a gallant and a brave man that we have lost in the person of the General Commissioner of the Police. We are not privy yet to the information of what exactly triggered his collapse whilst waiting to connect to the kingdom from an Interpol meeting in Angola, in Luanda. However, we are thankful for the South African authorities who collaborated with our diplomatic office in Pretoria to ensure that Mr. Dlamini's situation is attended accordingly. And as it were, we are expecting to receive his body any time before the close of this day.
I would imagine, Mr. Nxumalo, that, the family has been informed and they will also, too, receive Mr. Dlamini's body. Do we know at this point in time where the family is, or will they be waiting for him at Eswatini?
Yes, my sister, you are correct. The family has been informed by the police command as early as 5 o'clock in the morning. And of course, as you know, that the General Commissioner was a servant of His Majesty. His Majesty, who is also the Chief Commander of the Police National Services, was also informed accordingly. So as we are right now situated, we are looking towards hearing more details in terms of how are the funeral arrangements going to be structured, and we will communicate the information and filter it to the nation and to all SADC national police commissioners. As you know, that he has been working within a network of other regional police services. People will know as the developments are taking shape in respect of the funeral and, of course, the memorial service.
Now, of course, we know that Commissioner Dlamini occupied a very senior position. We also know that his position was due, to come to an end in a few months' time, and he was due to retire next year. Just talk to us about what his death means, particularly to the state security cluster.
Well, it's a sad development indeed in many fundamental respects. The experience that we have lost as a nation in terms of in matters of security and state security is a loss, obviously, even to the force itself. Because as you may understand, although his term of appointment was coming to a close, in the Kingdom of Eswatini we have got a culture where even former generals, we do find space for them to continue making meaningful contribution to national development. So it is a loss within the force and to the nation at large. However, we are also taking solace from the fact that he had a cluster of other well-able cadres within the highest command of the force, which is leaving behind, and we are convinced that they have enough experience to continue to steer the ship to the right direction.
What has the King's reaction to this the sudden death been? Because we do know, of course, that he was also very close to the King.
Yes, of course, like I've already indicated earlier on, it is a very touching event to almost all of us. His Majesty also was personally touched together with the Queen Mother at the demise of Mr. Dlamini. However, reality has struck home And this is what have confronted their majesties. They have embraced the fact that Mr. Dlamini is no more, and they are giving directions as to how we forge forward in preparation for his final resting place.
Mr. Nxumalo, as we wrap up our conversation, of course, you did mention that there are a number of senior people that would, of course, be very capable to assume the role that the commissioner assumed, particularly because he was going to vacate that position in a few months' time. Any indications at this point in time who his successor will be? I know it is early days.
Yes, it is early days indeed. My sister, your prediction is very much in order. We wouldn't know who will eventually take over his position. What we do know is that he has got about 3 deputy commissioner generals he was working with. So one will also definitely anticipate that one of the 3 will then ascend to Mr. Dlamini's position when the appropriate time has come.
Mr. Nxumalo, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Of course, that was Alpheous Nxumalo, the Eswatini Government Spokesperson.